Okay. So I switched off a weak Wi-Fi connection, and now I'm on cellular data, which should be a lot better. Are
Oh,
you?
okay, that's why. Okay.
Yeah. Are you on Wi-Fi or are you on data over there?
I'm on my cellular data, which is unlimited. So I figured this would be
Yeah,
the best connection.
you're right. My Wi-Fi sucked, as you just saw. So,
Okay. Okay.
um, so yeah, I guess I'll redo the first question. The first question is, what was the first RV that you ever rode in? That you ever rode, like not that you owned, but that you actually like you went somewhere and you stayed overnight in it. Do you remember?
Ooh, to stay overnight in, it would have been the first RV that I ever stayed overnight in. I believe that would have had to have been my parents' RV
Oh,
when I was younger. I rode in others probably before that, but just for day trips, we didn't stay overnight.
mm. How old were you when your parents got an RV?
Um, Probably around 12. About
Oh,
12. Yeah.
yeah. So a great age, an age where you're exploring, you're getting stronger, you're thinking about adventures and stuff, and then your parents get an RV. And what was the big trip you remember as a kid going on, if at all?
Yeah, the big thing was in Michigan was everybody went up north, and I guess so did we. We went up north in the woods up in Michigan and bonfire camped, that kind of thing. They call it boondocking when you're not. This, I guess, what they call what we're doing now is glamping because we have all the modern conveniences and we're plugged into 110 volt, all that. Um, so that was boondocking, they called it now, and
Ah,
off grid. Just what you bring with your batteries and that kind of thing, or if you bring a generator. But it was fun.
do you remember if you had a generator at that time?
The first couple times we did not. We just had the batteries and the LP gas. Yeah,
Mm.
but then later on over the years, they went through a couple other RVs. We had generators. Yeah.
So my RV has a battery in the front, and then
Mhm.
and then it has two under the stairs that you walk in from the side. Are
Yeah.
those are those both are all three of those 12-volt batteries, or what do you think they are?
I believe they're all your house, what they call house batteries.
Yeah.
It could be a separate. It could be a separate thing. I mean, um, there are so many options in different ways. I believe, like my RV has the one in the front, and that runs basically everything that was installed from the factory as a 12 volt. Because these things have both a 12 volt wiring system, and they have what they call shore power, which is when you plug into the grid, right, with the 110.
Mm.
And sometimes people expand that or order it as an option where I think the other two batteries may be just additional to the same circuitry, or they could go into a um, inverter that can convert it to 110 for if you're going places where you want to run some 110 appliances, but you don't have the show power to plug into. So it could be either way, I guess. It depends on how it was set up.
Hmm. So to like, let's say the batteries are 12-volt each, and then they're connected in series. That would be a 24-volt system, and then you could put it through an inverter to get it from DC into AC at 110 volts.
Right.
That two 12-volt batteries probably wouldn't last very long on a 110 system, right?
Um, Generally, that would be correct. Um, they have different, new technology in batteries now that do last longer.
Mm.
They have the lithium ion, that kind of stuff. It all depends.
I'm pretty sure all of mine are the lead acid ones. I'm guessing. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. What do you
They're
have
the
in
most.
yours?
Mine's a lead acid.
What's
It's
that?
what
Oh,
came with it. We don't need anything more because we're always almost always plugged in now. And when you're actually traveling, like when we travel from, say, all the way from Florida to here, cross country, we drive pretty much every day. So when you're, in my case with the travel trailer, when I'm plugged into the vehicle, it's charging while I'm driving. So I could run it down, to half charge, and then the next day it charges up while I'm driving.
Wow. Okay. So, are you saying that the alternator of your tow vehicle, your truck, actually charges your RV's battery?
Yes.
The house batteries, or just the starter battery?
No, it does it all when I'm plugged in to the truck.
Wow.
Yeah,
I had
I plug
no.
in. There's a cable you plug into. I might as well show you this stuff. That's why I'm here, right?
Yes, please. I don't want you to get uncomfortable, but yes, please do.
Yeah. I mean, how lazy can I get, right?
You just finished building a fantastic deck the other day, so you've done a lot of work.
Yeah. So all of the
that's a house battery.
Yeah. Here's my house battery, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
and I got a box in the way here because I just got this delivery today. But there's those two bars running right there. That actually is where you would set additional batteries. It looks like there's enough for 4 batteries going all the way across here. So if I wanted to add 4 batteries, I would just put them right in there and wire them in and have 4 additional batteries.
Wow.
But when this is plugged in, which you have to plug this in order to drive down the road to run your brakes and your lights.
Oh, that's not a standard hitch power thing. That's more intense. That's a thicker caliber wire and everything. Okay.
Yeah, it has like all these pins in there.
Oh wow, I've never seen that. So this is what you need if you're going to run any brake system, right? Or is it?
That's what this does. It runs the electric brakes on the trailer, and it runs all of the brake lights and all the lighting, and it charges the house batteries. And if I guess if I'm plugged in and running the engine, I could run, like everything back there. That's 12 volt.
That's so cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have space for like 6 house batteries. So that's like 72 volts of power potentially, just without any inverter. But
they don't. Normally, they don't wire them
in series.
In series, they wire them in parallel, so you're always 12 volts.
So it just lasts longer.
Yeah, for everything there, and then the inverters are 12 to 110, so you just have more storage capacity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you have quite a bit of electrical knowledge, and I've never really understood the difference. Sometimes they rate things as volts, and sometimes they rate things as watts.
Yeah.
I know watts is a unit of energy, watts is a unit of power. And the power equals current times volt. Is that right? I can't remember.
It's volts times amps equals watts. Watts is a measurement of how much power you have. So, you could have a lot of voltage, lower amps, or a lot of amps, lower voltage, or a lot of both, which would be a much higher watts. Yeah. So.
Got it.
Amps
so in this.
I think
amps is current.
Volts is current. So volts is like, if you think of it in terms of a water hose, volts would be the pressure, how much water pressure you have, and amps would be the diameter of the hose. If that makes sense.
Yeah, how much water can flow per second. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you times the two together, you get the total amount of power.
Like the throughput. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you had a fire hose, you'd have a lot of pressure and a lot of diameter, which would equal a lot more powerful stream of water coming out of there. Yeah.
So in this view, your camera is actually pointing at your trailer now, and your
Yeah.
trailer is that 27 feet
It is. I believe
long?
they call it. It's like 38 feet 8 inches, but I believe that's from the rear bumper of the trailer to like right here.
Oh, okay.
So if they go all the way to this to the rear bumper, it's 38.8.
30.
I think. And the what they call the part you live in. I'm going to put my slippers on here. The part you live in is the house, considered the house, and that is would be measured from this point to the rear without counting the bumper back there.
Oh,
so it's just a shade under 40 feet.
Shade under 40 feet. Okay. Yeah, that's super long. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, so, you got a barbecue on the back.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That plugs into the LP. Yeah.
Oh, so you don't even need a separate tank. That's a
no.
So LP is liquid. I just learned the LP means liquid propane. But anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. And yes, we will blank out that license plate later. So, and I see you have a slide out here, and is that what it's called? Slide out?
Right. There's we have 3 slide outs.
Oh.
One on this side, and there's my truck. And 2, I might as well give you a little bit better view since you're being interested here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the sun's blind. So there's the.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Huge awning. Yeah.
And then the truck here. I got the sun working against me, I think.
No, it looks good. That's a sub. What is that? What type of truck is that? Or what's the model?
It's a GMC.
35.
Sierra. Yeah, so it's GMC Sierra 3500.
Okay.
Right here. Yeah.
What do you think the 3500 denotes? Is it just a number? Does it mean anything?
Yeah, there's Ford and Dodge. They drop the extra zero and they call it 350. So they have 150, 250, 350. A 150 is a half ton. 250 is a 3/4 ton. 350 or 3500 is a 1 ton.
Oh, so this truck weighs 1 ton?
No, it's rated as a capacity of carrying
1 ton. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but they actually carry much more than that.
Oh, you've tested it.
Yeah. No. They're rated actually. Yeah, they're because it all depends on how you configure it with. If I didn't have the back seat, and if I had say a 6-foot box instead of 8-foot box or something like that, it would carry more weight because I just took 600-800 pounds off the truck. That kind of thing. So what your options are and such.
So you've got like 8 seats or 6 seats in there, or 5 seats?
Yeah, there's buckets in the front, so there's 5 seats. 5.
And how did you choose the 3500? How did you choose this model?
Okay, that's a very good question. See if I can find it here. So there's ratings on the weight here. I don't know if you could read that. Might be too dark to read.
No, you can actually see it.
Can you?
Yeah. Yeah, I can. It says GVWR 43 something kilograms.
Yeah, well, that's gross vehicle weight rating.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
And then they break it down to gross. I can't even. I got to take my glasses off. GAWR.
2177 kilograms. I can see it real clear now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, 10,000 pounds. That's so crazy. That's what it says on the left.
Right.
So how is GAWR different from GVWR? Like, what does it
See,
mean?
there's gross vehicle gross. I'm trying to remember what that stands for. I know these are the front and rear axle.
Maybe my editor will Google it later. Okay, front and rear axle. So that's kind of like where you load or what the axles
Yeah,
are rated at. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay. Got
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on that. I know it, but I can't recall what it is right now. It stands for another thing like that.
it. It'll come back to you.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
the
how
weight
did
rating
yeah. Mhm.
has to the rate rating has to be above what you're putting on it, right?
Oh, and everything you tow goes onto it technically through the hitch.
Right. Well, there's a hitch
Wow.
weight. The vehicle also has a sticker on it, and it's
Oh,
the weight rating here for the vehicle. So the vehicle weighs 11,250. If you could read
oh,
that.
yeah.
And
Now I can. Yeah.
yeah, and it also has the axle weight rating. Oh, was it A? That was A on there, right? Gross A.
That was yeah. So
That's
that's the
axle. It
GAW.
came to me. It came to me.
Oh,
Axle.
you even said it. Yeah,
I,
gross
I, I knew.
axle
I'm like,
weight
this is
rating.
the rear, the front axle. That's what that is. Gross
Yeah,
axle weight rating. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. See how you can get like a brain freeze, right?
Brain fart. Yeah.
It's being put on the spot. I'm never good at that.
No, you're good. You're good.
So the gross axle weight rating, and
Okay.
so we have two axles on here, and then the overall is 11,250. There's a so here it says here the weight of this recreation vehicle trailer is completed by the factory with full propane cylinders and full general fuel if applicable, which this one does not have the generator option. Would weigh 9,370 pounds.
Wow.
Now
Okay.
the hitch is supposed to be between right around 15% of the weight should be on the hitch.
Oh, because the rest is on the axles and the tires.
Yeah. So that puts like over 1,000 pounds on the hitch, and then the cap, that fiberglass cap I put on there is about 260 pounds, and whatever else I put in the vehicle. You even have to count your fuel, that kind of thing. So the vehicle has to be rated for that much. And then it also has a towing weight rating, which means how much it can pull and stop. Because stopping is probably more important than pulling.
Yeah, the brakes.
And it also has brakes on here, but it's still So all of those numbers I researched, and the truck is more than capable of this kind of weight.
Okay, so that was the reason why you had chosen. So you chose that truck because you knew you wanted this particular Jayco model. Is that
exactly? Right? Yeah, we actually picked out. We waited to buy the truck until we picked out what we were going to do, because originally we thought we were going to get, like you, a Class A motorhome. And then when we went and looked at them all, and we realized that for our lifestyle, we'd have to tow a vehicle behind it.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, gosh, if I'm going to have to tow something, I don't really want to, maybe we'll look at a fifth wheel. So we looked at fifth wheels, and the one that both the wife and I agreed to was, that both liked, was so big. I was too, it was as big as this is. Yeah. It was quite a bit bigger, quite a bit heavier. And it required to have a vehicle that would tow that safely. It required a dually, which is the pickup trucks with the two wheels on each side of the
two back wheels.
Back wheels. I don't like those trucks. I just don't. I like the single rear axle better than the dual rear axle. So then we started looking at something a little bit smaller, and we ended up with a travel trailer, which is being that, like, now that we're done gallivanting through the country and sightseeing and all of that, we're pretty much just going to leave it here in the state of Washington and store it over the winter here, and come out, and just come up in the summer and pull it out of storage. So I didn't want to have a Class A with an engine that needs to be maintained, sitting there all winter, that kind of thing. And that's there's a bunch of reasons why we ended up with this configuration, but they're all good. It all depends on what your particular,
what your needs, your uses, your likes,
and your usage, and all that. So now that ideally, I would like to keep it here, not even have to put it in storage, But the rent here is
affordable,
so much higher than makes it so much more worth putting it into storage because of that.
Don't give me the exact rent, because I think we would be able to. People would be able to look it up. But what is an approximate ballpark rent for something like? Is it monthly? You pay monthly for that?
Yeah, here it's monthly. They have the monthly is the best deal. They don't have a yearly or a 6 month like some places, and it is close to $600 a month here, which kind of blows my mind because everywhere else around here is much higher. Some of them are almost double, and I don't understand how that's working. Because you look through this park; it's a very clean park. It's all paved.
You found a treasure place. You found a good affordable.
And everybody in here is that stays long term is worried about them raising the prices up because of the competition is up so much higher. So we think we're just kind of crossing our fingers and hoping they don't right now. Yep,
for sure.
And the lots are pretty wide. I mean, we got some grass and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much a big parking space, and that's your own. That's your own umbrella and picnic table, right?
The picnic table comes with the lot. Oh, and it's all concrete here. I mean, we have a mat down, but it's all concrete. The mat's all on concrete, and it goes all the way under the trailers, all concrete, which keeps everything nice and clean.
Yeah. So tell me the importance of those. Is it called a leveler that you have like expanded down there?
Yeah. These they're not levelers. These are actually stabilizers.
Stabilizers. Okay.
Yeah. This power jack in the front will do leveling front to rear. And then these are stabilizer jacks. They're power, so you just push the button.
Wow.
And they just keep it from rocking. So to level side to side, you have to put, like, I have a stack of boards over there. I don't know if you see them.
Yep,
you have to put something under the tires if the ground is not level.
Oh.
So I have some blocks under this other side, and it's not to level it. And then the stabilizers just go down and keep it from rocking.
And aside from your own comfort when you're inside the trailer, does leveling have any other purpose other than your comfort, and so your liquids don't lean and crops don't move and stuff?
Yeah, the important thing is to have it somewhat close to level is for the refrigerator operation, because the refrigerator runs on both the LP or gas. Well, gas is the LP, so it runs on that or the 110 volt shore power. And it doesn't have a compressor in it like a house refrigerator, residential refrigerator. It actually runs on absorption.
How does that even work? Like, I don't understand how gas. Typically, you burn gas in order to
heat things,
create.
Heat things,
So how does a gas liquid propane do absorption to cool things down? Do you know? Because I have no idea.
Roughly, I'm not no expert on it, but
Of course.
there's a system in there where the gas boils some type of ammonia solution, and that turns into a vapor, and it goes up a series of tubes that wind back and forth, and they go uphill. And when it gets to the top, there's a little like radiator thing up there uh, that cools the steam off back to a liquid, and then it rolls right back down like a roller coaster. Another pipe turns back into a liquid, gets reboiled.
Wow.
So like a compressor does with Freon, it shoots it through some high pressure valve or something, right? And it gets cold. The absorption refrigerator somehow does the same thing, where it goes from a gas to a liquid and goes from a hot side to a cold side, and then back and forth, right? So if you don't have it level enough, it can't flow, and it'll pool. And if it pools, then the flame is over there the refrigerator's calling, hey, I need some cooling here. The flame goes up. There's not enough of the solution in there, and it just over bakes it, and it burns it. And once it burns it, it turns into scale, and then doesn't flow good. And so you can damage that system if you're not close enough to level enough.
I think that's what happened to mine. My refrigerator does not work. I didn't do it. I think maybe one of the prior originators did it, or the scale or whatever is blocking the the flow has already happened years ago, or it's just too old and it's leaked or something.
Yeah, so those can be replaced. I mean, you can pull the refrigerator out, and that whole unit, which has the burner thing. Well, not the burner thing, but it has the sealed. It's a sealed unit of tubing with the ammonia, can be swapped out with a new one. So if the rest of the refrigerator is in good condition, then it might be worth it. If the rest of the refrigerator is in shoddy condition, then it might not be worth it. You have a Norcold. I
got a Norcold. That's the brand of it.
That's a good refrigerator.
Is it? Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, yeah, it's got a top freezer section.
Yep.
It's got that stuff, but yeah, not working. And how do I know if there are issues? Yeah. Yeah, it could be that, or
do you know if it's so did you try it on plugged in and with the LP, or how did you try it?
You know what? I have that weird plug, and I don't have any. You talk about that weird, like 3-prong curved. I guess I called the 30 amp socket.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. So the one thing about the RVs is that, as far as I know, unless you maybe go up into the $1 million ones or something, which I'm totally unknowledgeable on for obvious reasons. But the ones that I've seen, whether like if you have a 30 amp or a 50 amp, it's all 110. None of it is 220.
Oh.
So you have to make sure you're plugging it into an RV outlet. Don't plug it into a house outlet, because some house outlets can be 30 amp 220, and that'll completely fry everything.
Yeah, I was warned. The person who sold it to me on Facebook Marketplace actually said, you can just get an adapter from Canadian Tire and plug it into your house. But I read up a little bit on it, and I don't think my house has a 30 amp socket, so or wiring, or so I'm going to avoid that.
They do have adapters. They do have adapters that you can plug into a regular 110 outlet. Like you would plug in, say, a vacuum.
Oh.
And I have one of those. Too bad the border's closed. I have all the adapters, because when we traveled, we never knew where we were going to spend the night sometimes. I think it's in this compartment. So my cable is pretty large because it's a 50 and it's plugged in right here.
Oh, that's a 50 amp. Okay.
Yeah, and it's got a different, looking prong thing.
Yeah.
And then yours would be this 3-prong that has the 30 amp.
Yes. That's what mine looks like. And how many
Exactly.
prongs does yours have?
I think it has 4 because it's 50.
Okay. 50 amp is for. And why is there adapter between, or is that just a readout? Is that
This is
surge protector?
surge protector.
Oh.
And it also tells me if it's wired correctly with the green light. If I get a red light, then I know, hey, this could be maybe one of those 220 outlets that I'm not supposed to plug into or something like that. I think it also tells me if the voltage goes too low because you could burn out stuff.
If voltage goes low, you can burn out stuff. What does that mean?
Well, like a brownout.
Oh, okay. And
So
a brownout. Okay, a brownout is like. Oh, okay, there's the 50. Yeah.
This is the 50.
Ah.
And then I've got the 50 going into a 30. Let me pull it out so you can see it.
Yeah, and then that other end has a 30
right. So
male,
I can,
a 30 male side.
Plug my 50 in here, which goes to a 30, and then the 30 goes to a 110. Now you could plug this into a house because it's just 110. It's not the 220. It's usually a 15 or a 20 amp circuit. If you plug this in, it'll be enough to run your fridge. Oh. It'll be enough to charge your batteries. It'll be enough to run some fans and some lights. So that's something you could do. You wouldn't need this one. You only need this one.
That's not just. So that's not just a plug. There's actually circuitry in there to ensure that I don't pull too much amperage. Right?
No, I think this is just a plug.
And that would be it would be safe for me to get one of these adapters and just plug in my RV and see what happens.
Yeah.
When you plug
because in a house, the 110 in a house is not. I mean, this would be like a regular outlet.
Yeah.
And a regular outlet in a house is either 15 amp or 20 amp, but they're 110. They're not 220. That's why it's safe.
Okay. So if it was higher voltage, if it was a 220 volt plug, then it would be dangerous.
Right. But in a house, they don't do that on these 110, on these 15 or 20 amps. Yeah. They do that on the 30s or 50s. That's for the ones you have to be careful. And that's why they use it. That's why they normally use a different configuration so they won't go in.
You won't make the mistake. Right, okay. Right. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Now, if I was to plug, when you plug your RV into any power, any shore plug, what gets power? Does your ceiling AC unit? Do you have a ceiling AC unit?
Yes, but this plug won't have enough power to run that.
Oh, so if you plug that in,
don't turn your air on. Because don't turn your air on if you plug this in, because if you turn your air on, that's where you have a brownout situation where the air's trying to run. It's got some power, but it's not enough to run it. So it's just kind of sitting there heating up, and that's a dangerous burn out your AC unit situation.
Oh, wait.
So just turn that breaker off, that circuit breaker on for the air, turn that off. Oh. And then you don't turn your air on that way, and you'll be safe.
Okay, so number one, I've never plugged in my unit because I didn't know I could just get an adapter and safely do it. Number two, my ceiling AC unit has never been able to turn on. So I'm wondering if someone has already disconnected my fuse, and I don't know where my fuses are.
That's a good question.
Where are your fuses?
I can show you that. I don't know where yours are. I'd have to walk around and kind of look at things, I guess.
Okay. I can look. I'll look in my manual too.
Oh, if you got your manual, definitely, yeah.
I do. I got it.
Okay, we're going in. It's the light on.
Wow, that looks amazing. Holy cow! This is a living room. That's fantastic.
Yeah, this is Yeah, this is the kitchen, the living room. Yep, and
Wow.
I could.
Amazing recliners too. Those recliners
We
look
got the
amazing.
rocking. Oh, is it up there? I don't know. No. We got the nice. Do you have a fireplace?
No, of course I don't have a fireplace.
It's so. I tell you, watch this. It's so hard to get that fire started.
That's amazing. So that's electric heat.
It is. Yeah, it's electric heated. Yep.
That's beautiful. That is so cool.
But I don't want it to get hot in here. I'm gonna put the fire out. So here's our. You should have some sort of a wiring panel, and this is our. So we have. Let me get more light in here, maybe.
I can see it actually.
Okay, so we have. This is the 12-volt side. The things that run on 12. Okay. These are all the 12-volt fuses. They just pull out, and you replace them. Like I don't know if you've ever seen that in
like your car fuses. Yeah, I've seen them in my car.
Yeah. And there's the amperage on it: 15 amps, 20 amp, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then there's some bigger ones here, 25s. And then this is the 110 side from the shore power, and they have all the circuit breakers here. And then it has the list to tell you what's what here.
They're mapped out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So are those very similar to circuit breakers in a home? Like, are they identical?
These 15 and 20 are, but the 50's not. Because if you go to a home and you have something that looks like this, it would be 220 50 amp. But here it's 110 50 amp. So this one is a unique RV breaker. I think these others are probably 15 and 20 is just a common 110 in a house.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any difference.
Why do you think that they chose to go to a 110 50 amp system here?
Well, it takes 50 amps. Minimum. You need the 50 amps if you get the 2 air conditioners. So this unit has 1 air conditioner on top of the roof, but there's an option for a second, which it doesn't have. But it's wired all the way up to 50 amps in case you do get that option. Pretty much.
Okay, I got you. It's
with one.
It's kind of like what you said before, because you have to get enough wattage, and you're limited by your voltage. So you have to make the amps higher to get that same wattage, right?
Exactly. Yep. Volts times amps equals watts, right? Yep.
Okay.
I don't know if you need any other questions there.
No, that's good. I'll have to look for my panel. I feel like it's definitely on the exterior. It might be on the exterior. Or
it might be inside one of the...
I think it's under the fridge. I think it's under my fridge. Let me check.
Is he in this?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You want to see?
Let's see. Okay.
Not know how to remove.
Oh, that looks like your furnace.
Oh, okay. So that, and then next to it, I have this thing. It says air conditioner selector switch, front rear. I don't even know what that does.
Oh, okay.
And then this is a hole where the rats live. No, to be honest, I'm not sure what why there's a hole there. They're all electrocuted. Yeah, so I guess you showed me yours a little bit. I'll show you mine. So this is at the back. This is the 1988 Winnebago Itasca Sun Cruiser.
Do you have slide outs?
I killed my bat. No, I do not. It's 1988. I don't know if they had slide outs then.
That's true. I don't think they did.
And we got a tiny shower here.
Oh, that's nice. So you have glass door on it.
Yeah. And then we got a toilet there. toilet here.
Yeah.
And I had Clifford did his business in here, and and I did not put any water down it, so it smelled horrible. It smelled horrible. So I did not understand that I needed to keep water in the toilet. I do, right? I have to actually
Yes.
make him do his business on top of water, and then let it go in.
Yeah.
This is
Always-
why I need. This is
You
why
should
I
always
need you
keep
guys.
water in the toilet because there's rubber seals.
It seals the fumes.
Yeah, the rubber seals need to be kept wet so they don't dry out and then they won't seal.
Oh well, too late for that.
They'll crack.
Oh man. Does it happen over 2 weeks? Because that's how long we haven't had water in it, probably.
No, 2 weeks isn't going to kill it. But like even ours, when we store it over the winter, they make an RV antifreeze, which is non-toxic. And not only do we run it through all the plumbing so nothing freezes, but we fill the toilet with it. So as it evaporates, it'll last all winter and keep the seals nice and pliable, so they don't quit sealing.
Wow, you put antifreeze into your toilet and it's non-toxic.
It's our special RV antifreeze. Yes.
Okay, I didn't know I had to do that.
Yeah, you do. You buy that at an RV place, or actually Walmart has it. They might have it at Canadian Tire, that kind of place.
I see. Yeah. So class A, that just means that does that denote the length, or does that just mean that I have a motor inside of it?
It means you have a chassis with a motor all built for the unit. Versus a class C, which is looks like, the ones that look like they're a van on the front end, and they have a motor home on the back, and they have like maybe a little bed over top of the van. That would be a class C. Okay. And what you have is a class A.
I see. Does your trailer have an odometer on it?
No.
Yeah, because it's a trailer. So
right.
That's neat. I want to go back to see your did those recliners come with your trailer?
Yeah, all of this is it came all furnished. Yeah, all of this came with it. Yeah. Recline. Wow. These are swivel rocking recliners. So they swivel and rock. Nice. The couch folds out to a bed. At all, and the table has a leaf that pulls out.
And so that leaf just allows you to seat more, maybe seat up to like 6 people on it.
I would say 4 people. Here, pull it out. I'll lift this up. You pull it out. We're going to show it to you.
And there's storage under there too.
Yeah, so it just pulls out like that.
Oh, wow, it's flush. Okay.
Yeah, there's also storage under the table, but with all that stuff on top, it'll fall over if we show you that.
And then we have 4 chairs.
And even the chairs have storage under them. It's pretty unique how they...
Wow. So these chairs came with it, and it's so stylish, and they're very...
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Special chairs.
Yeah, this is our dog treat.
It's our dog.
Dog storage.
That's awesome. Good and fun.
Yeah. And then, I'll give you the rest of
it. Yes, please.
This is our bathroom door and our bedroom door, but there's just the 2 of us here. So we use that for our shoe storage. And this is the bedroom. We have a queen size bed.
Oh, it's beautiful.
There's a closet here. We have for his and her side closet.
Wow, that's a good sized closet.
All storage here, and
it's made to put a washer and dryer.
Storage here. Does your bed have storage underneath it in your motorhome?
Oh, I had never checked. Let me see. It's still new.
Laura's going to hold the phone for me, and I'm going to show you how that works. Just step back with this so you can see.
All right.
So here's a regular, what looks like a queen size bed, but it actually does this. and it has all that storage under it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it goes out to the back. So you can store, like you can see down there's a hose and stuff. It goes all the way out to the back.
That's actually where
you can
getting that.
Access it. You can access it from the outside. That adapter from, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yours might do that.
True. Okay, see, I'm near under my bed. I don't know how to get the light on. Let's see. Oh, the light won't work when I'm doing video. But I do see a handle under my bed, which is, oh no, that's a leveling thing.
All I can see is black.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I killed my battery, so I can't turn on any lights. No drawer on the right side of the bed. Let's check on the other side.
It might open from the back.
It might just lift up. All we did was lift it up.
Yeah, it's there.
Hey!
You helped me discover. Oh, there's a body in there. Oh my God. No, it's empty. But it doesn't seem to connect to any external.
That's fine. You still have storage there, don't you?
Yeah, thank you. You just saved us from buying extra storage.
Yeah,
compartments for the roof. Thank you.
And then there's this is our bathroom. Let me turn the light on. So we have a bathroom here, and I don't know if I dare do this, but yeah. So see, there's always got to be water there. There's a seal around there, and there's water in there. Yeah.
I like how you hesitated.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to look. Yeah, and then we have
yeah, that is
our showers.
Pretty big.
That's a little bigger, yeah. So, with the
wow, that is a massive shower.
Yeah, this is the largest shower I've ever seen.
With a chair inside.
Yeah. It's got the built-in seat thing there. But yeah, and then we have a little bit of storage in here. Medicine cabinet and behind the mirror. Pretty standard, I guess.
I feel like I'm watching MTV Cribs.
Oh no! Gosh, no.
That's awesome.
Then we have this
wow
power place here where we have like battery check.
Yeah.
Water tank, which is empty pretty much, because I'm hooked up with the hose. I don't need it in the tank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then these are the slides.
Oh yeah.
Extend and retract the slides to pull the slides in. Awning. Extend and retract the awning.
Oh, you have a mechanical one. My awning, I have to do it manually. The manual awning is so hard to do.
Oh, is it? I don't do that.
You've never had to do it.
And I even have a remote control that'll do all that, but I keep forgetting to charge it. So I could walk around outside and do all those things that you can do here.
That's amazing. That's so cool. That makes a lot of sense to be able to wirelessly press those buttons. That's awesome.
Yeah, because sometimes you're in a campground and you want to make sure you're clearing all the branches and trees when you're pulling the slides out.
Yes, visibility.
Yeah. Right.
Are you pretty happy with all the appliances there? The stove there uses the LP as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It has a conventional oven, which we use to store dishes in because we need all the other cabinet space for other stuff.
Yeah. We do that at home.
And then we just pull all that out when we cook.
And you don't get the mistake because you have to light it with a pilot.
That's kind of, there's a catch-22 there. It's kind of a pain because you have to light that. When you light that stove, you have to light the pilot light manually with like a long match thing we have. It's actually a long lighter there. That way we can't melt our pot pan things in here because you'll see them and pull them out.
That's true. Okay. It's safe.
The other part is probably like yours where you can light the top without a match because it has a spark.
Oh.
Right? You have that, right?
I have not actually even looked at my oven yet. So there's this metal thing on top of it. Let's see what I have here.
Do you have one like this that says spark?
Hmm. It says, this one says oven. This one says left front, left rear, right rear. No, it does not say spark.
I wonder how that lights.
Maybe there's a pilot light.
No, there's probably not a pilot. You might have to light it with a lighter.
Really?
Well,
I wouldn't see that because you could leave the burner on and you would lose.
I don't know.
Why would there not? Why would there not be a?
See, watch what I have to do. So if I want to light this burner, I go over here and I put it on light where it says light. Then I go over here and I turn the spark. And this, did you see the spark?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So that's basically how. Now, if I don't spark, it doesn't. It's like the outdoor girls do this, right, with a spark.
Yeah. So if you don't spark, it's gonna fill your place with LP, right?
Yeah. So I don't know how yours lights unless you have to do it with a lighter.
Okay. You probably can't see this, but mine says oven. In red, it says oven pilot on.
Yeah. I have that too. See here.
So, yeah, I don't know.
And so you have to put the pilot on, and then put the lighter under there and light the pilot first.
Oh.
And then you can light the burners.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Wait. Wait. So you've got so I probably have to light my pilot first underneath here somewhere, and then and
look
then
under. See the one with the holes, right there, the one with the holes. Not you have an upper rack, then you have the metal with the holes in it. Yeah. Okay, if you look underneath the one with the holes, if you look under there, you'll see like a burner. See a bar like this one that's a burner?
I found a light, so I'm going to do that. Okay.
Here, Carl.
Oh.
You have, see my screen there, what I got there? You have that? I can't tell what I'm looking at.
Oh, yeah. I think I found the same thing.
Okay.
Yours looks a little... I don't know. I can't tell what that is.
Okay, so, wow. Okay, I think right there, see the thing on the right? Looks like a box. Yeah, follow that down.
Yeah.
Over to that's your burner, right?
Oh, okay.
I see the thing over to the right of that. It looks like a little box on the end of a tube. About 2 inches to the right. Yeah, right where you almost pointed to it. That exactly. That right there. That looks
like my pilot.
I think so. Because see where my light's shining on mine? That's my pilot. Back there. And it kind of. Do you have like two little probes that look like inside that box? I think that's your pilot.
Okay. I don't know what probes look like.
Well, there's one is a thermocouple. One of those is a thermocouple that
okay.
And one of them is where the little pilot light gas comes out, and the gas comes out as a flame when you light it, and it heats up the thermocouple, which is a safety device to allow the gas. Yeah, once that heats up with the pilot, it allows the gas to go to the burner. So the burner gas will shut off if the pilot goes off. That way you don't fill your RV with gas.
That makes a lot of sense. So I got to try to understand this. So why would lighting a fire allow gas to move? Is that why it's called a thermocoupler? Because using temperature, it opens some type of gas valve?
Yes, because you know what a pilot light is. It's like the size of a candle.
And isn't a pilot light supposed to always stay lit? Like or only stays lit when you're trying to use whatever you're using?
Right. Okay, if you look on your knob, there's probably an off and a pilot, and then there's the temperatures.
Yes.
So if I'm cooking, I'm on a temperature.
Yep.
If I'm on pilot, then just the pilot's on. And then if I'm off, that turns the pilot off. Now, if the pilot's off and the thermocouple cools down,
yeah,
you can't just go, if I just go here and say, I'm going to put it on 400 and go down there with a match and light the burner, nothing's coming out. It won't light because the thermocouple is not heated up. So first I have to go to pilot, light the pilot, which heats the thermocouple, which allows the gas to flow to the burner.
Got it.
And then once the pilot's lit, all I got to do is turn this over to like 350, 400. I don't have to go with a match anymore because the pilot's there to start the burner. And that's how that works.
That's so cool. You just explained to me what pilot light actually means. So it's like the pilot of your burner. It's like the first guy, the captain, and he's gonna allow the rest of the proceedings to proceed. And so when it's at off, there is actually 0 LP. If all the dials are off, there's 0 LP flowing to the pilot light. But when you turn it to pilot, then you can light the pilot light, and that will open up the next flow all the way to the burners, and then you can adjust your flame.
Yeah. Now mine, if you look at it, there's one little caveat to that, but you've got a very good understanding. Pilot, it says push, hold.
Why?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because see how the knob goes, it goes in?
Yeah.
There it goes. See it go in?
Yeah.
When I push and hold it in, it overrides everything and allows just the pilot gas to come out, which is a little candle size flame. That way I can light it. Once it heats up the thermocouple, I can let go and it'll stay on. Yeah. And I can also turn this and it'll push the gas through everything and it'll light the whole burner.
Okay.
So you have to hold it in, which is overriding the safety device, allowing the gas to come out the pilot for you to light it. Let it burn. Make sure it's not going to like flicker off, because sometimes when you first light something, if there's an air pocket in the line, it'll flicker off, and then you'd have to start the process all over. So usually you hold that in after it's lit for about 15, 20 seconds. Make sure it's lit good, and then you can release it, and it'll stay on.
Got you. And that's how you have to light your pilot light. Every time you light your pilot light, it has to be done that way, right?
Yes. And that's for the oven. That's for the oven. Now, if I use the oven every day, I would leave it on pilot and then just let that little candle burn down there. But we use this thing like once a month, so we just turn it off.
Mm-hmm. What is that flow rate like when it's just the pilot? Like, if you just left the pilot on all the time, like you forgot about it, how long would it take to empty your LP tanks with just burning pilot?
A long time. I mean, yeah, like if I burn this candle, it'll probably burn 24 hours, probably 4 or 5 days, maybe a week. And then the tanks I have 2 30-pound LP tanks. It would probably stay on with that much gas. That pilot light would probably stay on over 6 months. Because it's just
I had no idea.
It's just like one little candle flame,
I guess so. It's like a trickle of LP, like really tiny drips of LP.
Yeah, it looks like a little candle, like a little candle flame. That's all it is.
Yeah. I guess it's hard I guess most people probably aren't as experienced to be able to estimate how much fuel consumption powers a candle flame, and to know that 30 pounds of LP can go for 6 months. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And now these I have to do the spark. There's no, I don't know how you light yours if you don't have a spark.
It must be with a match or a candle.
I think it's just a match I think the spark is just a convenience thing. Because once I do this, whether I light it or not, the gas is coming out. There's no safety thing there like it is in the oven. You know, the oven accumulates the fuel in there and it can blow up, right?
Holy crap. Okay.
But still, if this is putting out gas and fills the whole RV, that can blow up too. So who knows?
Yeah, it's so scary. Okay. So I need to know a little bit more about LP safety. Are there any other LP safety tips that you can pass to us?
Don't know if there's anything. Well, I know so our fridge can run on LP. Our stove and oven runs on LP. Our water heater can run either electric or LP. So we've got that. And then our grill that you saw in the back. That's basically all, I think, all that the LP runs.
Okay.
And
when we're not plugged in, it runs.
Now, technically, there's a lot of, I don't know. I've Googled it and watched some videos and stuff. And when it comes to driving down the road, some people say you should turn your LP tanks off, right at the tank where the knob is.
Okay.
Turn those off when you're driving down the road. I guess that's the ultimate safety. We run with a refrigerator full of ice cream and food, so we leave ours on and leave our refrigerator on, and there's an argument out there on the web that thousands of people say we've done it for generations and nobody's ever had a problem, and others say, well, for safety you should. And then I've seen tunnels. There are some long tunnels like the one in Michigan that runs to Canada under the water. They say all LP tanks must be turned off. That kind of makes sense going in a long tunnel. But even the refrigerator has the same safety feature. If that pilot light goes out, it shuts off the gas automatically, like the oven does.
I wonder if it's possible that. Okay, wait. So maybe the reason my fridge doesn't work is because I've never plugged in my RV. Number two, my pilot lights are probably off.
Could be.
Like that could be it, right?
You might not have any gas. That's why it doesn't light.
Do you know you have gas?
Yeah, when those lights for checking the gas level, it says I do have gas. But maybe the gas is off. Maybe it's in the off position.
Yeah.
So let's say that the gas is off. When I turn the gas on, do I have to light something to get? I do have to light something, obviously, to get my refrigerator going. Or is there an electrical spark?
This refrigerator, I'm not sure about you. Yours was a Norcold?
Yeah, no. same brand. Yeah, same brand, but really, mine's really old. Mine's like mine's from '88. Mm-hmm.
This one, when it runs on gas, I can hear it. If I stand outside where the vents are for the refrigerator, you can hear that electric spark clicking, click, 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 click. It's waiting for the gas to show up. So so if I change out my tanks and I'm running this on gas, I'll come over here and turn this on. And sometimes I could hear it sounds like gas coming out, but it's just air because the air in the lines, because I swapped out tanks. And it might take a minute before it lights because it has to get all the air out of the line for the gas to reach it. And that's close. My tanks are way up on the front where the battery was. Yeah. And this is real close to the fridge. So I figure I'll get this going first and then I'll try to turn the fridge on and it'll fire up quicker that way.
Okay. So when you have the air in the line, you actually have to stand next to the oven and keep clicking the lighting button.
Yeah, I just turn this
so that
on.
you don't feel. Yeah, you just stand there and click for every few seconds.
Yep, exactly. Yep,
just to be safe. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I've got to check my LP. Good. Now, and you guys filled your LP tank months ago?
Yeah, we're still running on what we filled last year.
Oh, wow. So I guess it's because you're always plugged in, so you're rarely using it. And
correct.
Switching over. We use it for the stove. The stove is...
Right now, the only thing we're using it... No, the
That's
hot
true.
water heater is electric right now.
Okay,
So the only thing we're using it gas up for right now is the stove.
And I guess you only cook for about maybe an hour a day, or
Yeah, barely. And
yeah.
if we in the morning, if it's chilly, we run the fireplace, which is electric, so we don't have to run the furnace because we have a complete gas furnace here too, which runs on the gas, but we don't run it because it's not that cold here, and the fireplace is more than enough. Yeah. When we run our air, it's all electrical. All runs electric. So we're still on we got here July 3rd, and we're still on the same 30-pound tank from when we started.
Mm. That's amazing. I did not know that LP lasted that long. A barbecue LP tank. Barbecues use LP, right? The typical ones like you have backyard.
We barbecued only probably 3 times since we've been here.
And a barbecue typical LP tank is what? Is that a 10 gallon? I can't remember if it's gallon or liters.
Ours was 20 pound.
20 pounds, yeah.
A 20 pound. I'm not sure how many gallons that converts to.
Okay. No,
I think it's close to 6, but don't quote me on that one.
Okay.
I'll show you what our 30 pounds look like. Yours is probably yours is probably like a permanently installed like 80 pounder or something, isn't it? On a Class A.
I do not know, Carl. I think have to get back to you on that.
I think on a Class A, what you have, you just have like when you pull up to the gas station to fill your car, you just have a place where you stick the nozzle in. They have, I think that's what you have, is a place where you go to the LP guy and he'll have a hose and he'll stick it in a place on the side of your Class A and fill the tank because it's mounted to the frame somewhere. Right. Mine, I can take them off.
You're right. I heard that it has to be a certified guy.
Yeah. See, mine are tanks that I can carry. It's behind this access panel. So behind this access panel, I have.
So those are like giant barbecue tanks. Yeah.
Yeah, they're 30s. I think barbecues are 20s. Yeah, and you can turn them on and off here, and then disconnect them here, and I can just take them in, so I don't have to like move my house, right, to go get gas.
Yes, and why do you think they needed to put 2, kind of like redundancy for backup in case one fails or in case one leaks?
Well,
why won't they do one massive one?
It'll last longer. One massive one would be hard to carry. When it's full, it's heavy.
Oh, true. Yes.
Yeah.
Got that. Okay.
And you can't see it. There's like an arrow on here, so it's pointing this way. So it means it's using up this tank right now.
Oh, okay. It uses one at a time.
If I put it down the middle, it'll take gas from both, and then I'll run them both empty. So when this gets empty, I turn this around to point it to this tank. So if I'm in the middle of baking a cake and I run out, all I got to do is come out here, switch this over to this tank, relight the oven, and I'm back in business.
Nice.
And then I can go take this and go get it filled.
While the other somebody else is attending.
So that's another reason why there's 2.
Yes, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Some people run them both. If I turn this down here, it'll last twice as long. It'll run them both out. Then I'll be completely out.
Yeah. Then you're stuck. You can't make your cake.
Yeah, and I'll have to take them both in to fill them, right?
Okay. Yeah, cool. That makes sense. And how do you know? Okay, the only way you know how full your tanks are is from the indicators inside, right? On those lights?
No, I don't have indicators for these. When it's pointing to this tank, when this tank is empty, this will be all red right here in this window.
Oh, that's the indicator. Okay.
Yeah. So right now, the red, you can see there's a red thing in there, but it's not popped up. That means it's empty. If it pops up, it's empty. Yeah.
I guess that detector goes by pressure or something.
Yeah. Somehow it knows. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what are some of the general features of this particular RV trailer that attracted you and Laura to it? Like that you're like, this is the one. I know you said there was an even bigger one that you liked, but then you decided on this one. I guess the slide outs were a big thing for you to be able to have enough square footage inside.
Yeah, because when we retired and sold our house, we went from roughly 3,000 square feet down to like 300. And when we went into a lot of the other RVs, well, once we decided to go travel trailer versus Class A, or even fifth wheel, we started looking at them, and some of them, when you walk in, you just feel kind of
claustrophobic.
Yeah. This one, because it has the two slides on each side, they call opposing. They're opposing each other. It feels more like a room than it does like a trailer because of the width. And that was real comfortable feeling when we walked in there. It also has a taller ceiling. It's about, if you look at, see this trailer next to me here?
Yeah.
Am I able to zoom?
The outback, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay, see the top of the door?
Oh, it was right flush with the ceiling.
Yeah, see, there's just enough room for the awning to roll up there. And if you look at mine, the door is the same height, but I've got
an extra 1.5 feet. Yeah.
Right. So I've got a taller ceiling than a standard trailer.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But so the taller ceiling and the opposing slides gave it such an open, airy feeling. That's what we kind of were like, yeah, this is it, because we don't feel that claustrophobia with the shorter ceiling and the thinner width to the room, which kind of sold us on it.
I see. And was there a reason that you chose Jayco over something else?
Their construction.
It's a very well known, long time, been around. So I liked having a name brand that's been around and proven. Mm-hmm. And we like the floor plan, like I said, with the floor plan with the posing slides and the taller ceiling, and it's not like a high end, $1 million RV with. We have solid countertops. They're not Formica. We have stainless steel appliances and sink. It's not low end, but it's not high end.
Gotcha.
So the price was attractive with the decent amount of quality, not too bad, and the layout. I guess all put together was kind of.
That was the package, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you said you chose the 3500 HD truck after you decided on like the size that you wanted. So how did you decide on that particular truck? I feel like you probably looked at multiple trucks. How did you settle on GMC?
I retired from General Motors.
Oh no, I actually I knew you worked for a company, but I wasn't sure that I didn't know that it was General Motors for sure.
Oh, okay. So I retired from General Motors, and the pickup options would have been Chevy or GMC. And I like the look of the GMC better.
Yes.
Let me see. I turn my lights on.
Oh.
I forgot. Yeah, there's a switch here. Oh, here we go.
Oh, external lights. Oh, yeah. Are those LEDs?
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. Everything, all the lighting in the trailer is all 100% LED, inside and out.
Oh, so efficient. Yeah, like super efficient. That's great.
Yeah. Yep, there it is.
That's cool. That looks
There's
really
the outside under the awning.
Whoa, nice.
LED strip.
Whoa, super bright. Yeah. That's a great feature.
Yeah. So basically that was
So Chevy or GMC?
I worked for General Motors, and I got a employee discount, of course. And
okay.
And I like the GMC. This is a Sierra.
Mm-hmm.
The Sierra.
Yeah, the Sierra.
LTZ.
Yeah. What does the LTZ mean?
these are just the options, you know. It's like
okay.
Z71 LT. It's a Z71 LT 4x4. So that's basically a bunch of options.
Oh.
And it has the power folding mirrors. So when I go into a car wash, I push a button.
Oh,
And
you just
fold
press a
in.
button.
They fold in flat, you know, and that kind of thing. And
Nice.
it has the tow package and the higher amp alternator to charge the batteries. It's all set up for towing. Yeah. So that's why I got the options I wanted.
That's so cool.
And then we got I got the 8-foot box because 2 reasons. One reason, the longer the wheelbase, it tows better. It doesn't porpoise going down the road, you know, like so it's a smoother ride.
Oh wait. So longer the wheelbase, meaning instead of a 6-foot bed, you get an 8-foot bed, and that puts your wheel about 1.5 feet further back. Is that what you mean?
Right.
Okay. And then
not quite 1.5 feet, but it puts it. It gives you a longer distance between the axles, and it tows better that way.
I'm trying to figure out why that would be. I guess.
Well, when you imagine this package going down the road, and this thing is bouncing up and down, and it's bouncing up and down back here. If you have a shorter wheelbase, that up and down makes a bigger angle. So you're like, if it's a real stretched out. If it's stretched out, it's a slighter angle.
And it's distributing out the mass of the truck. Okay,
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So your Jayco seems really new. So you're probably not dealing with any leaks at all.
No leaks. No leaks. No.
So yeah, my Class A, unfortunately, it already had some leaking came through the air conditioning system, even though the air conditioner was not running, the ceiling air conditioner.
Yeah.
So I went onto the roof and I saw that there was a bunch of caulking all around the roof.
Yep.
So I think I have to redo that. So I was told I have to redo that if I see any leaking, and then I have to probably redo that every 3 to 5 years. And in your situation, will you ever have to do that?
Yes, I have the same caulking you have. It only lasts so long, right? The rule of thumb is you should crawl up on your roof and inspect the caulking every 6 months or twice a year, and look for like caulking that looks like it's starting to peel away or crack or dry out, and recaulk that. And then you won't get the leaks. If you're kind of like staying ahead of it a little bit.
Okay, proactive.
Be proactive. Don't get the leaks. Kind of do that. That's the rule of thumb. So I've been up on mine half a dozen times or more. A couple of times I've recaulked something that I didn't like the look of. It was starting to look weathered, and I've never had any leaks.
Oh, so you've only had your Jayco like 2 years now?
No, we bought it 6 months before I retired. We've had it, I think a little over 3 years. A little over 3 years. Like, yeah.
And you've already had to caulk it once.
I probably didn't have to.
You were being proactive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I did.
And what compound do you use when you caulk? Is there a specific brand that you think?
Yeah, there's a Dicor self-leveling that you're supposed to use. If you go to a RV place and tell them what you're doing, they'll get you the right stuff.
Okay. Is there other types of caulking that you have to use on other parts of the RV?
Yeah, you only use that on the roof, that Dicor self-leveling. The other stuff, like over here, like where the front cap joins the sidewall, there's a bead of caulk running there. That's just a silicone. That's a pure silicone. Okay. Yeah.
So do you have a brand for that one?
I don't think it matters. 100% silicone is pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All you need.
And when you say Dicor self-leveling, what does self-leveling mean?
It's made to kind of like pancake out when you put a bead down. It'll pancake out a little. Yeah.
So it'll respond to gravity, spread itself out.
It does, and it's made for roofs. So
Okay.
the stuff you put on the wall is made to not self-level because it would just kind of run down, right?
It's made to stay where you put it, kind of.
Yeah.
And when you caulk something, you spray it on, and then do you use your finger and spread it out and smooth it out, or do you just spray it?
I do. The key to a nice looking bead of caulk is to cut the tip very small. You want a very small hole to put a very small amount of caulking in, because most people cut it too big. They put too much caulking on, and then they have to wipe off so much it spreads all over and makes a mess.
Okay, that's a great tip. Your how often do you have to bring your Jayco into the mechanic for checking, for maintenance, for checking, suspension or brakes or anything like that? How often does that need to happen?
The brakes do have, like a car, they have a device on them. Basically, it's a little piece of hardened steel that when the pad wears thin, it'll rub metal to metal and squeal real loud.
Okay, so screeching brakes is
screeching brakes mean take it in right now. You need them, yeah. So it's like the type of driving you do. I don't do a lot of stop and go. We do a lot of highway, and this thing is like a sail in the front. So if I know I'm going to pull off that exit, I will. A lot of times when I drive, I will, not use my gas pedal. And this whole big thing in the front here is like a sail. It's like a windbreak, so it slows me down pretty decent. And I'm real easy on my brakes. I would bet, I haven't checked my brakes yet, but I would bet they're not even half wore out yet. I had these brakes checked. Now this thing has 40,000 miles on it. It's been pulling this thing for at least, I would say, 60 to 70% of the miles. And I had these brakes checked, and they're not even halfway wore out.
Wow.
So your style of driving has a lot to do with how long your brakes are going to last.
And in a typical safe case for safety, you said you're not even 50% worn out in brakes. At what percent of brakes in general, not talking about RVs or cars, should you have your brakes replaced? Like, do you wait until they get to 20% and then replace them to save money, or like what's a good rule of thumb for brakes replacement on a regular vehicle?
I'm not sure what the percentage is there. There's a certain millimeters that they're designed to
go to
be safe until you get down to a certain millimeter of thickness on the pad, and that's where that device is set to start squealing.
Got you. So they've built in the safety warning using some auditory cues. Okay.
Right.
Go ahead.
It's also good to have them looked at, if you can. So when if a lot of times when I take it in for full service oil change, they check that. So that's how I know. How I said I know the brakes are not even like 40% wore, because when I go in for a full service oil check at the dealer, they check the brakes, they check the tires, they check the rear differential fluid, the transmission. They do a whole bunch of stuff, and they give me a report out. I have not had this checked for the brakes. Couple of reasons. One reason is because I know it's mostly highway, and I don't, like I say, I'm not a big stomp on the brakes type of driver, and the brakes are performing as well as they did new, and they're not making any noise. The other reason is because we're going to be storing it here now, and not taking it across country, and the distance from where we're camped at and where we're storing it is only 7 miles one way. So I'm only going to be towing it 14 miles a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not as worried about that kind of stuff. Yeah.
What are some of what are some of the things that you have to do when you go to storage? Have you ever stored it for a long time already?
I have, but like I say, they have to winterize it. You have to like drain all the water out, replace all the pipes with the RV antifreeze. I do that.
Okay, so you put the RV antifreeze, like you said, in the toilets, and you run it through the water system, like you water pump
Yep,
the
yep. There's a way to do it.
antifreeze
Yeah,
through.
yep. There's a way to do it.
Okay.
You have to bypass the hot water tank. There's a couple
Oh,
valves in there. Bypass, and then there's a tube that comes off the 12-volt water pump, and you stick that into your gallon bucket, your gallon container of antifreeze. You turn the pump on, it sucks it all out, and you have to go through about 3 gallons before it's pumped out of every faucet, and you make sure because it comes in a color. I think it's I'm trying. It's kind of like a pinkish orange or something, and you
okay.
see that coming through, and you let it run so your drains fill up with it. So any low points in your drains won't have regular water in them anymore. They'll be replaced by the antifreeze. That way they won't freeze. So you run all that through, and I've had it stored over the winter in Michigan for 2 winters. This winter will be the first one in Washington. And when I'm in Michigan, I had the luxury of keeping it in my dad's barn. Here, it's going to be outside. So I just got this delivered today, which is a cloth cover. And it's going to completely cover the RV.
Wow, that is amazing. Like that tiny box is going to cover this massive Jayco.
Yes. That's it.
Wow. And you've in the prior storage episodes, you've never covered it?
Nope. This is my first cover.
Oh.
I always cover the wheels. Okay. Even when we're out here, you see the wheels have covers because the sun, the UV on the sun is going to dry out the rubber and crack them. So they'll last much longer if you cover that.
Wow.
So
I always thought people who covered their wheels were just obsessive. But now I understand there's great purpose.
It's because it costs thousands of dollars to replace them, and they'll last much longer out when they're not being beat up by the UV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many wheels does your 5th wheel have?
I only have 2 on each side. That's it.
Oh, you got a total of 4 wheels.
4, yeah.
Ah, okay. And the tire pressure PSI is 100 PSI?
On mine, it's 80.
80, okay. Mine is supposed to be 100. And
yeah.
I've got 4 tires in the back on my back axle, and I've got 2 tires on my front axle. Okay.
Yeah, so you have 6 tires total.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I have the 4 on the trailer and the 4 on there, so I have 8 total.
Have you ever had to deal with a blown tire on a trailer?
No.
Oh, and I hope you never do.
No. My tires are still in good shape, and I run them. I check the pressure regularly to make sure that they're not low, because that's why you get a blown tire. Is either the rubber is getting dry rotted, or you're running them bald, or you don't have enough air pressure in them. That's the 3 main reasons you get blowouts. I mean, there's always the piece of metal on the road that you can't help, but those are the 3 main things for tire safety.
Now, how is your braking distance? You are hauling 9,000 pounds.
Yeah.
How does that impact?
I can stop as quick with this as I do when there's nothing on the truck. I can stop just as quick.
Wow, it's because the brakes are that good on that system.
Yeah, yeah, because I have brakes on there. Yeah.
That's really cool. How are electric brakes different from the brakes on the truck? Is the truck pneumatic brake? No, not pneumatic. Hydraulic brake.
Hydraulic. Yeah, this is all hydraulic. Yeah.
Okay.
And when you step on the brake, it goes through a hydraulic pump, master cylinder they call it, which increases the pressure, pushes it through the lines. runs an actuator back here on the brake, which makes a movement to turn the brake on, right? To pressurize the brake. On that, there's an electromagnet. So as the wheel's spinning, there's an electromagnet hanging there. And when you activate the brake, it turns power to the magnet. It clicks onto that spinning wheel, which moves the magnet over to a position which pulling like a lever with a cam on it that's expanding because those are not disc brakes, those are drum brakes. So it's expanding the brakes into the drum and works that way. A cam on a lever, basically run by an electromagnet.
I'll have to Google image what cam means later because I have no idea.
A cam is like an offset lobe.
Okay.
Like if you had a pin or a post, and you had a round disc attached to it, and you spun that, and something was laying on that disc that was attached to it, it wouldn't move. But if you had a cam, which was a lobe that was offset, right, it would ride on that, and when it hit the high part of the lobe versus the low part, it would turn that. It would act the movement like that, right? As that turned.
I've heard of camshaft, and I guess that's the shaft connected to a cam, which is an offset lobe.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Exactly. Now you know what it is.
Thank you. It's very useful conversation. Now, your acceleration, it's got to have been significantly impacted when you're towing 9,000 pounds, eh?
Yeah, I'm much faster downhill. And much
that
slower
must be
uphill.
scary.
Yeah.
So, and how often do you shift down when you're going downhill? Is that recommended?
It will automatically do that. I have downhill assist. The computer does it on the truck.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't care for it. I usually turn it off. I don't really care for it. I rarely need it, really, because like I mentioned before, the front end of this thing is like a sail. And if I just keep my foot off the gas, I can go downhill. Like some of these slopes crossing the mountains are like 6-7% grade for like 6-7 miles long. And they must have fertilized. It'll hold about 75 miles an hour.
There, right?
Yeah, we're next to a farm, and every once in a while they pour liquid manure out, and it smells. So going downhill, the wind resistance holds me pretty much where I rarely go over 75 anyway. So I just let that happen.
Do you think that was an intentional design or is it just a consequence of them trying to maximize your space?
Yeah, that's just a consequence. Yeah.
And would you ever put a backup camera on the back of your trailer?
I have one.
Oh, was that stock? Was that stock?
No, it was a aftermarket option that I had put on from the dealer.
Wasn't it for it?
Yeah, it was prepped. It had the wires. Jayco prepped it with the wires. They also prepped it for sealing roof solar panel for the roof. It has wiring. But I haven't used that one. That would be here. It says
wired for solar.
Yeah. And I have not used that.
Solar. Wow.
Yeah. I have not used that. But I did use the wire prep for the rear backup camera. I have that. And it's also wire prepped for the second air conditioner if I wanted to live in Arizona or something. So you can see I'm feeling here. That's the wiring. If I put the second AC up, it'll go in this area, and there's the wiring already there for it.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And there's an outlet up there.
Ooh. Did the TVs come with your unit, or did you have to buy that after?
They came with it.
Oh, what brand did they choose?
it's Furrion. Furrion is especially made for RVs. They're made to take the bouncing and the freezing temperatures.
Oh, that's so cool. I had no idea. I didn't know there was specialized. I knew there's specialized refrigerators. I didn't know that there were specialized TVs.
They are. And I really haven't had a need for the second AC because it still pipes in the cold air in two places here.
Oh, wow. So it pipes it in from the other room.
Yeah, it pipes it in, yeah. See, we don't have a AC that you can actually see. All we have is the outlets. So this is what you call whisper quiet ducted. So it's actually ducted like it would in a house where there's air ducts in the ceiling.
Wow.
And we don't have it where it's just the unit that's just dumping cold air down. These are the cold air returns where it sucks it in.
Ah.
And these are the cold air outlets where it blows it out. And you can adjust them, point them and everything.
Oh, that's so cool. And is it really whisper quiet? Like you can't hear it running the actual
huge
compressor?
Difference. Oh yeah, huge difference. We get neighbors come in. Sometimes they'll come in here for a drink or something, playing cards, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!" In our, they'll say in ours they have the old style where you could see the thing. They say you have to scream to talk to each other, and when it was on, they hardly could tell it was on. Yeah,
that is what I have. I got the ceiling one that's loud.
Oh yeah. That's the way they used to make them all. And then we have you probably have the heat. The heat comes out of the floor.
Oh, I have no idea where my heat comes from. Okay.
Yeah, and most of them have what they call underbelly. So there's a floor here, and then there's a frame which is about 10 inches deep, and then they put up some plastic underbelly thing. So the 10 inches underneath this floor is all heated by the ductwork. So the ductwork runs through here. And when the furnace blows the hot air through the ductwork, the heat radiating off the ductwork is enough to keep all of the water drains and water plumbing that's running in that same underbelly from freezing. So, and it also keeps the floor warmer.
Yeah, it's an insulation layer, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned potentially using solar eventually. Do you know, like, is that something? Like, have you done the calculations on that solar? Is it something that you would be able to run completely off grid, or is solar only able to charge like little light bulbs, LEDs, and batteries maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it would take a lot of batteries and a lot of solar to run everything.
Yeah.
I was never interested in doing that because we don't boondock without power very often.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, now that we're pretty much set up to a one spot here in the summer and one spot down there in the winter, I really have no need for solar anymore because we're always plugged in. But it's nice to have when you're like the first 2 years we were traveling, it would have been, in a couple occasions, it would have been nice to have because we didn't have power all the time. And if we had more batteries and some solar, it would have been nice. But for as many a times as it would have been nice, it wouldn't have been worth it. You know. So if you do that a lot, it's worth it.
Okay, yeah, I was considering it, but as you said,
it depends on the style. Yeah,
boondock it a lot.
Yeah, you have to figure that out. How much you're going to be without shore power, right? Yeah.
I'm going to start using because of you. Install the reverse camera. Any other aftermarket features?
You're breaking up. I didn't hear that.
Oh, any aftermarket features aside from any other aftermarket installations of things that you installed?
On the RV?
Yeah.
It came quite loaded up with, it came quite loaded. It has Bluetooth, which we hardly even use anymore.
Oh, it's like Bluetooth speakers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it has some kind of This has got.
Oh, nice.
It's got Bluetooth on it. We don't use that too much.
Mm.
Well, because we don't a lot.
Yeah.
Internet a lot.
What did we add? I think most of it came with. Can't think of too much. We did put in a electric toaster with convection. We have a convection oven here that we use for electric.
Nice. Good looking one. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the campgrounds, now we're camping and we're paying by the month. When you pay by the month, they meter your power and you pay for your power. When you pay by the day or the week, a lot of times when you're just camping as a family for a vacation, you're going for a few days or a few weeks. They don't meter your power. It's just X amount per day or X amount per week, and it includes whatever power you use. So we were cooking with the electric since we were already paying for it.
I see.
That in the microwave, but it came with the microwave. But we like to cook things, in a convection type of cooking. Mm-hmm. So we did add that, but I don't think, all we had to do is add that and add our little coffee maker.
Nice.
Right there. And it pretty much came with everything else. We added a little footstool.
Are there any cautions you have to take when you telescope in the slide outs?
Yes, definitely. You have to watch out and make sure everything's out of the way. We have a checklist. That's one thing I'm not sure if you have. We have a checklist. So every time we go to hit the road, we go through our checklist to make sure, because like the TV, this TV actually has, the swivel bracket where you can pull it out, swivel it, and when you go on to travel mode, you want to make sure these bands are on here. Okay.
Oh yeah.
For two reasons. One reason, the bands will keep the TV from flopping around on that swivel bracket, and the other reason is when we pull the slide out this thing will come in and crash into the TV if it's pulled out.
True, yeah.
So that's on our checklist. Make sure the TV's banded. Make sure the water heater is, well, if we want it on, we'll put it on gas. But yeah. We have the doors, make sure like the sliding doors on the shower have a latch.
Oh, okay.
So this little latch, let me turn the light on.
I can see the latch, yeah.
Yeah, this little latch holds the doors. Otherwise, you're going down the road and
crash.
You know how you're going side to side on the road, and the doors will be slamming around and probably break off, right?
Yeah.
So you want, I'm sure your RV has something like this. This is a sliding door for the bathroom here, and it has a strap.
Oh yeah, button strap. Okay.
A button strap, right? So we have a checklist we go through, and even on the outside, like when where your sewer pipe is, where you hook up your sewer pipe, there's a little cap.
Yeah.
The cap, it's the law. You have to have the cap on when you're going down the road. If the cap isn't
That's the cap. The cap for the black water. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the large black sewer cap. If that cap is not on, you can get a ticket.
Because you could spill poop everywhere? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the cap has got a seal on it. So it's a secondary seal. The seals, where you pull the levers to drain and that.
Yeah,
those are notorious for leaking. And if you're driving on the road and you're leaking poop water, right? Yeah. And it's bouncing up on somebody's windshield or whatever, that's bad. That's bad news.
Yeah.
So that cap is a secondary insurance that you're not leaking.
Gotcha.
And if the police see there's no cap on, they can pull you over and write you a ticket for that, whether you're leaking or not.
Isn't the cap hidden under a door, or is your cap on the exterior?
Some of them are.
Okay.
Mine, it's dark out now. I don't know if you could see it, but yeah.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
lot of them are in a spot where you can see them.
Mm-hmm. No worries.
And, yeah, and it's probably too dark out, but even this one, see that pipe going up to this one, and if it's lighter out, I guess you can see if that cap is on or not.
Okay.
But yours could be behind a door, and in that case, yeah, they wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll be light enough to see. No, it's pretty dark back here. But you can mine just sticks like right by the side of the like right there, and you can just see it.
What do you think are the biggest mistakes that people make with a trailer, like when operating the trailer?
Or you mean like driving with it, or
like driving with it?
It's probably, let's see, on our checklist, it's backing up. You have to have a spotter. So we always, we have the backup camera, which is a big help. But I always like to have, like if I'm backing up, it's always me backing up because she won't back it up. She'll drive it, but she won't back it up.
Okay.
And she's out there on the phone, so she can call.
On the phone to you.
Yeah, she can call me, and I've got my Bluetooth, and I can hear and everything, and be both hands on the wheel, backing the thing up, and she'll be back there looking and talking to me like, "You got 10 more feet, whatever."
Yeah.
So that's an extra insurance that I always like to have.
Yeah.
I think backing up is probably the biggest thing. The other thing is if they just cut a corner too sharp and you side swipe something.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably pretty common.
Which is what you have to watch too with the length of yours, right?
Yeah, I do. I have to take every turn a little extra wide and really, really shoulder check all the time. Mm-hmm.
And you also have to watch your tail swing.
Yeah, tails. I got to think more about that one because I'm always watching the inside of the turn, but I got to watch the outside of the turn too. Eh?
Yeah, because the outside you have a tail that swings out, and you have the inside where the sidewall kind of creeps in. So you got to watch both of those.
Wow.
Laura, what are some of the important things on our checklist?
Well, we make sure that we have the stabilizers up.
Yeah, we make sure the stabilizers are up, and all of the hatches.
Compartments have to be locked.
We go around, do a walk around, and make sure all the compartments are locked so they don't flop open. That kind of thing. Oh, tire pressure. Always check the tire pressure before a long trip.
Yes.
That kind of stuff. Yeah. So if you make a checklist, then because when you're excited to go on your trip, and then you might forget. So.
But with us, the jacks, so we always have to make sure those are on right. The chain is locking. The pins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where you doesn't.
Right.
And is it legal to have anybody in the trailer while it's moving?
No.
There are some states, but we never do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know my kids would always want to be in there. Why do you think it's called a fifth wheel? Any idea?
Yeah, actually, the way the hitch is, it's so dark out now. There's some trucks out here I could have showed you, but it actually, you've probably seen them. They actually have this round disc that pivots.
It locks.
Yeah, it pivots where the pin comes in and locks, and it's actually a disc, and it got the name fifth wheel. It's like an added wheel.
Because it's round and it looks like a fifth wheel.
I believe so. Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting. Now, you said that it costs approximately $600 a month to stay where you are. How different is the storage cost? Because I'd imagine storage cost is probably $300 a month.
Yeah, you know what? I called a storage. There was a storage facility over here that I called that they had an indoor. So it wasn't. It was more like a it wasn't indoor, it was roofed.
Okay.
So, yeah, it wasn't indoor, but it was it indoor? Maybe that one was. That one wanted $250 a month to store it. And they said, oh, we even have outlets if you want to plug in to keep your battery charged. They wanted an extra $10 a month for that. So it was $260 a month. The place I'm going to is just behind, it's a storage facility where they have the big long buildings and all the garage doors and people put all their stuff in there.
And then they have a loft or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So behind that, they have an additional area that's still within their fencing, and they have boats and motorhomes lined up back there. And they're outside. They're $40 a month.
Oh, that's a great price. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I bought I bought the cover for like $200, and I'm going to go with the $40 a month.
That's a great price for the cover, but I can imagine it's going to be challenging to put the cover on.
Yeah. I guess the challenge, from what I hear, the challenge is to keep it on with the winds. So it has all these tie straps going around underneath it, and we're going to just completely wrap it with rope and tie straps.
Well, it's been almost 2 hours, and I feel bad for taking off. I feel bad for taking your time, but I've learned so much. And
I thought we were going to talk about your engine somehow. You wanted to talk about.
Well, yeah, I was interested. Like I have a Chevy chassis. Is that related to GMC at all? I don't know.
Yeah, it's all General Motors. Yes.
Yeah, and do you know a little bit about the history of like why is it a separate brand or brand? Yeah, why is Chevy different from GMC? Has it been different? Did they join?
Yeah, it was. They were.
Showing your face. You got it backwards.
Oh yeah, I got it. I should show my face.
Your kitchen is
General Motors is a company that. How come it's not flipping?
No, it was. Yeah, now I see your face.
Okay. Yeah. General Motors started out as a company that was buying other car companies. So it has all these names as Buick, Chevy, Pontiac. They were other startups, Oldsmobile. They were all startup automotive companies back in the day that GM was buying up.
I just I got to move to a better light because it's pitch dark and my batteries are dead. So I'm going to move to better light so you can see me. Yeah. But yeah, you were saying that they're buying out companies like, did you say Oldsmobile was trying to buy other companies too? Or GMC was trying to buy?
Yeah. General Motors Corporation. Yeah. GMC is General Motors Corporation. They bought up the other name. That's how they started with them. They bought up the other startup car companies with those names. Yeah.
Okay. So GMC bought up Oldsmobile and Chevy.
Oldsmobile, Pontiac, Chevrolet. Yeah.
And what so all I know is that in mine I have something called a big block engine. Why is it? Yeah. I guess a big block engine is just like the type of side.
Yeah, you have a Chevy 454 in there, big block, which is 454 cubic inch of displacement.
That's right. Oh, cubic inches. Okay. Do you know like what is a 454?
Yeah, 454 cubic inch displacement. That's a very strong engine with a very good reputation.
Ah, okay. And strong meaning like it's powerful, so it produces a lot of torque. Is that what?
It produces a lot of torque at low RPM. It's a very, very good engine for a motorhome. Yeah, and it has a reputation of being like a very long-lasting engine. Of course, all engines have belts and hoses that again are made out of rubber that dry out and crack and need to be maintained. But probably the first thing that'll go on that engine is the seals.
Okay, yeah.
All of the seals.
And the seals are what keeps the pressure or keeps the oil inside, and the oil is there to lubricate the parts to prevent engine wear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's gaskets. There's gaskets and seals. There's gaskets in there too. You have a water-cooled engine with a radiator, and it has antifreeze in it. And then there's gaskets for parts, where the water flows, so that you don't want that leaking out. So I'd say the gaskets and the seals are probably the first thing to go on an old engine like that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of cheaper ones on Facebook Marketplace, cheaper motorhomes, and it said, has a blown gasket, will run. Blown gasket, does that just mean, what is a gasket? It's like a piece of rubber? Is a gasket a piece of rubber, or is it metal?
It can be a composite, depending on the type of gasket. A lot of them are metal and other things, composites. And like a head gasket has to hold a lot of pressure because it's the gasket between the engine head and the engine block, and it actually holds all of the compression of the cylinders. So that's a different style of gasket. Those can blow, and they can start leaking compression, and they can also leak water into the cylinder. Not water, but antifreeze from the cooling. And then you get like a bunch of white smoke out the exhaust if that happens.
Okay.
Or you get oil leaks. You can get oil leaks. If you don't have white smoke out of the exhaust and you don't have any oil leaks on the driveway, that's a good start.
That's where I am. I'm going to try to stay there.
Yeah.
I think my 454 has actually really low, I think like 70,000 miles. So I guess I would say that's pretty low for an 88.
It is.
I think it's because it stayed parked for most of its life. It's kind of weird because the guy left all his papers in there, and so I Googled him, as people do these days. So the past owner was a Boeing. He worked for Boeing anyways. And he kept meticulous records of all of his maintenance.
Oh, that's awesome. Was he an engineer,
I think he was, because when I Googled him, it said that he was an engineer, and he lived in Kent, Washington, in Seattle. Yeah.
Well, I think you did real good then, because engineers are usually meticulous at record keeping, and they're also meticulous at maintenance. So if he did the proper maintenance on that engine, that's why you don't have any oil leaks. Because the good news is you have low mileage. What could be bad news if it wasn't maintained properly, but it sounds like it was, for two reasons. One, you're not leaking oil, and two, he kept records. What you want to do is make sure that you start the engine, run it 10 minutes, at least every 2 weeks or every month, but minimum, because you want to get those fluids running around there so they don't dry out the seals. If the fluids are all sitting at the bottom and the seals are drying out and starting to shrink and everything, that's when you start to get leaks or drying out rubber seals, kind of a thing, So you want to turn the engine on, let it run or drive it for at least 10 minutes. And that also gets all the humidity out of the cylinders and out of the exhaust system and all the intake and everything, and heats up the engine and dries everything out. And that will make it last very, you can get easy 200,000 miles out of that engine if it's maintained properly.
Oh, that's good news. That's good news.
Oh, yeah.
And the other day when I ran it, I hadn't run it for about a week. And when I ran it, I saw like liquid dripping out of my tailpipe, my exhaust pipe. Is that condensation?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the humidity that built up inside there that I was talking about. You want to run it and 10 minutes is because you want it to build up the temperature to get hot enough to blow
to
and
evaporate and blow it out.
Yeah, and get all that moisture out of there, like you saw.
And is that a rule for any motor vehicle, gas powered motor vehicle? Probably. Yeah. And that's stored outside in colder temperatures than indoor.
That's one of the reasons too, and I forgot to touch on that. Why we decided to get the trailer versus the Class A motorhome is because, hey, when we're in Florida for 6-8 months a year, who's going to be over here turning it on every 3 weeks for 10 minutes, right? We don't have to worry about that. It doesn't have an engine on the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Worry about the maintenance of it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I did not think this through before going through my purchase, but I will. Thankfully, it's nearby, so I'll just have to.
Yeah.
I'll just have to teach the kids how to do it. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I mean, basically, you just start. You don't have to drive it. You just turn it on, let it run 10 minutes, and shut it off. And that not only maintains the engine and the seals, it also maintains the electrical system with the battery and everything. Charging it back up.
What do you know about the engine that's in your Sierra? What engine do you have in there?
That is a 6-liter gas engine, which is like 360 some cubic inches.
Oh, okay. And what is General Motors kind of known for in terms of when they make cars? Like, I remember that I had a 13-seater van when I was growing up. My parents bought it, and that was awesome. We loved that van, long trips and everything. And it was a GMC Ram, I think, RAM. So
that would have been, if it was a Ram, it was a Dodge Ram.
Okay, sorry, it was a Dodge. Yeah, I can't remember. So it might have been, but and Dodge is a different company from GM.
Yeah, that Dodge is Chrysler.
Dodge is Chrysler. Okay, so Chrysler is the parent company there, and Dodge is one of the people they bought up. Okay.
Probably.
And, okay. What is GM known for?
That's a good question. Overall, I would say GM is not known for its quality, not very high quality.
Oh, okay.
Overall.
Okay.
Now that 454 bid block that you have is a proven bulletproof engine. So that one is well respected. It's similar to the one I have, where it's a old school style push rod engine versus you hear of a lot of these like 16 valve overhead cam, all these fancy fuel injected, direct injected turbos and all that stuff. And that's all fine and dandy, but that's all high complexity that really hasn't been proven long durability. So what you have is a proven durability engine, because like anything in engineering, if you can do the job with a 1,000 parts versus 2,000 parts, right? You can add on these double the parts, but that just means you have double the chance of something breaking. A 50-cent part can put you on the side of the road.
Yes.
Right. If you can eliminate that 50-cent part, it can no longer do that.
Yeah. So simplicity is super important.
So what you have is a workhorse engine designed for the basics, that's proven to last over the duration of the years, versus some like high performance engine with all the bells and whistles that work great, but it has twice as many parts in it, which means twice as much that could go wrong.
Yeah.
And the chances of them lasting, what are you, 33-year-old, there's none around that's been around for 33 years yet, and there's not that, and they're already dropping off the road. So how many of those are going to be around in 33 years, right?
Yeah, I actually looked that up, and I saw that the Toyota Land Cruiser was one of the vehicles that is like, I think 3 to 5% of cars that are still on the market have over 100K. I think that was the stat. I can't remember, but something like that. Yeah, the Toyotas are really long like that, and the Honda Odyssey was the van that was in that class.
Yeah. It's typically, the simpler the design, the longer it can last because it has less to go wrong. I mean, that's not 100%, but that is a big plus. Yeah.
What were some of the things that you did with GM when you were there? What were some of your duties?
Oh, yeah, we did. My group did the 3-dimensional modeling of the exterior, some of the exterior parts. So we did the front and rear, the front fascia, the rear bumpers, the grills. We were the all of the front end and all of the rear end, that kind of thing.
So much of that is about the mix of form and function, of aesthetics and practicality and durability and everything there too. That's a huge responsibility.
There's a lot that goes into it: aerodynamics, safety, cooling. I mean, with a grill, you have to get enough cooling for the big diesel engines are hard to cool, that kind of thing. And they have tests where they load them up to the full towing capacity of the vehicle. They'll go out to Pikes Peak on a 90-degree day and run it up the hill and make sure that it doesn't overheat, and and they'll do it with a car in front of it, like 3 feet in front of it. So if you're going up Pikes Peak with a full load on a 90-degree day and you're in a traffic jam, so you don't have the
flow, the amount of flow you would.
Yeah, the full open air flow, you still won't overheat. That the grill has to have enough airflow for that. So there's a lot of things involved.
Aside from, is a grill designed to like keep? What is a grill designed to keep out? It has to let air in, and what else? What does the grill have to keep out? Animals, I guess. But.
Yeah, not like they used to. I know in the old days they would actually have more of a function, where they were made out of metal and they would keep things out. Now they're all plastic. They don't keep anything out, basically.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
but
okay.
It's mostly to let the air, enough opening to let the air through to do the cooling job, but still look nice. Because if there was no grill, you would look at a bunch of functional parts that have a bad aesthetic, right?
Mm-hmm. And so your team was in charge of both the front and the rear types of those aesthetic parts.
Yeah. So what we did, we were part of the engineering group, but the GM is so specialized because it's such a high volume corporation. There were artists that drew what it should look like, and then there are engineers that were responsible for the manufacturing and the function, and then there were the modelers, which we took that information and built it into a 3-dimensional math model in the computer system. So that's what we did. We had to work with the artists and the engineers and make it 3-dimensionally modeled to fit its environment and perform and look artistic, perform engineering wise, and fit the environment.
That's super cool.
So we work hand in hand with them.
Yeah, it's like you're at that interface of science and art and functionality. That's
Exactly.
so cool.
Exactly.
And what was there one particular model of GM vehicle that you were most proud of to have worked with?
I like the truck. I've been into trucks pretty much my whole life. You know, when I was a kid, we had like a gentleman kind of farm, kind of like Felix, where he has like kind of a little farm thing going. Yeah. We had 10 acres. We had some cows. We had some goats, and it was in an area where farmers were. So everybody drove pickup trucks. I had a pickup truck right when I got my driver's license. All my friends had pickup trucks. We just loved them. We went four-wheeling with them. We went camping with them. We used them to haul things around, building stuff, like when we did a little carpentry work and stuff. So they were everything to us. So I'm partial to trucks, and I worked on the mostly the trucks because that's what I liked, and I would gravitate to that when I was there in the company.
I think the design of the Silverado was probably your nicer when it first came out, the model.
Yeah.
Remember, I took it out that one day and I came out and there was all those men.
So I would get trucks that were pre-production.
Oh,
and
that's fun.
And I would drive them. And Laura took one up shopping one day and came out of the store, and there was a group of guys all hovered around it because it wasn't out.
No, it's a brand new model.
It wasn't even available at the dealers yet, and they were all like hovered around it, looking at it like, "Whoa, this is brand new."
I had to wait up by the store for like 40 minutes to leave because I didn't know the answer.
It kind of freaked her out a little, so she just ran back in the store and hid till they left.
That's so cool.
Questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura's so humble and avoids the limelight.
I even got, when GM got in partnership with Hummer and made the H2.
Yeah.
Remember, I don't know if you knew about that. There was the Hummer.
I didn't know that there. I thought that was just pure Hummer. I didn't know GM had a part in that.
Yeah. GM did. So there was the Hummer, which was the military version, which was the H1. The military version, and that's the one like cool. Arnold Schwarzenegger bought one and he was driving it around.
Yeah.
And then it started getting some interest. So GM decided we're going to make the H2, which is based off of our pickup truck platform. And when we got I worked on the H2, and when we got the first H2, again, it was not available anywhere yet. They haven't opened the dealers yet or had it at the dealers. And I was driving it around, and I got pulled over by a cop that wanted to look at it because it was the first one he saw.
That is so cool. Was that the late 90s? I can't remember when the H2s... Did the H2s come out in turn of the century? Or when did it come?
Was that late 90s, maybe?
I know, but I remember when the cops pulled us over, and like, what the heck?
It was like mid-90s, late... I don't know. It's all a blur to me.
That is so cool. That is... Yeah, that is so cool.
And we went down to... built them in Mishawaka... Was that Indiana? Mm-hmm. And I remember we went down there for the launch, and they had their own little test grounds, and we drove them around there and climbed up rocks and all that kind of stuff. And that was a big launch for the production.
You watched somebody drive them up the rocks, right? You didn't drive it yourself up the rocks.
No, we drove them. Yeah, we drove them.
Holy cow. That sounds dangerous, but I guess was it designed to be able to roll?
When they did the actual testing, they had test drivers do it. But for the launch, they allowed us that worked on the team to come up, and it was kind of like a big, celebration thing. And they had a couple of trucks there, and they certain parts of their test track they allowed us to jump in and drive them through. And we got to drive it through 40 inches of water. We got to drive it up rocks. We got to drive it on, a couple of different sections of their test track where you had like two kitty corner tires on hills, and the other two were up in the air, like teetering. We did all that stuff.
Wow, that's so cool. What an experience. And so the Silverado, the H2, those are two of your most fun projects, it sounds like. Anything else come to mind?
I did. I mean, I was part of all the Suburbans, Tahoes.
Denali's you worked on too.
Yeah, Denali's is just the same thing. Back in the earlier days, we had what they call medium duty trucks, which were like the dump truck style. I don't know if you've seen any of those, like, the bigger. And I worked on those. Remember? And GM actually made semi trucks too in the earlier days. It was called a GMC General. If you Google GMC General, you'll see their old like 1980s semi trucks that GM used to make, and I worked on those too.
Well, your school buses,
yeah,
the GM school buses were not that good.
I didn't work on.
Well, they weren't good.
I was into trucks. I wasn't into school buses. But they were. I could have.
Wonder why.
I could have been. There was. I remember when the bus group was there, but I wasn't.
Yeah, because it was truck and bus originally.
Yeah, I didn't have an interest in the buses.
We did because
it's cool. So you ended up working in an industry that you had passion for. Like you were like, I love trucks. I grew up with trucks, and now I'm going to work for a company. Like, what was your in? How did you make your way to GM? Like, do you like show up and say, "Hey, I love trucks. Can I work?" Or, how does that work?
That was like, so when my dad was doing remodeling and house building, he needed blueprints. So I would, we'd start out by, we would either buy blueprints or have an architect draw them up. But if you ever work in that kind of a thing, it's constantly changing. So to continue to go back to the architect for changes is time consuming and expensive. And once you see it there, you're like, okay, here's a blueprint, and all we need to do is move this wall over 6 inches. You could just, as a kid, I would just erase it and copy it over 6 inches.
You're like, I can hack this. Like, there's no reason to send it all the way to that guy. Just let me do it. I'm a teenager.
That was the start.
I'm a teenager. I know what's up.
Yeah. So when you're like doing the actual rough framing, you understand like what you need to do with the flooring, the floor joist, the ceiling, the rafters, ceiling rafters, all this kind of stuff. You have to extend those. The end cap has to, all that kind of stuff. So you move the wall over and you kind of have a basic understanding of how the wall's built. So you make sure all that's done. That was the starting of it. Was I started sketching on that kind of stuff, and then I ran into some folks that had some training classes at the time because they needed these designers.
You worked on the board at first. And
they had classes to, it was kind of like a vocational type class for these designers. Back then, it was all hand drawing, right, on Mylar and vellum and, that kind of thing, which is just a medium of like paper type stuff, right? And
okay.
And it was hand drawn, so you're drawing on a board, a drafting board, right? And they had the classes, so I took the classes and I got some work because the work was all around me. I lived in Dryden, Michigan, and GM was doing this engineering in Flint, Michigan, and in Warren, Michigan, which were both surrounding me an hour that way or an hour that way. So there was a bunch of jobs there. And I took the classes and I went around and got some interviews and got hired in as a contract temporary worker. So I did that for about 5-6 years. And then GM liked me as an employee and hired me in direct. And
wow.
all along I was taking classes. That's one of the things with engineering and with the technology at the time, going from drawing on a board to on a computer, 3-dimensional in a computer system, to solid modeling on a computer. There's a difference between the first iteration of computer was basically a wire frame that depicted the part in view. You know, you could rotate it and see it in 3D, but it was a wireframe. By the time I retired, it was solid modeling. So if you had a cube with a hole in it, anywhere you cut a section through there, it would show you that where the solid part of the cube up is where the hole was. It was a complete model. And that data would get sent directly to the 5-axis mill that would mill out the tool to make the part. So it cut out so many middlemen in there. You would go from us to cutting the metal to make the part.
Wow. And
versus
was that software? Like, I remember hearing from some of my friends that there's it's like the general class of the software is called AutoCAD.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
What
does that stand for?
Yeah. AutoCAD was a system that was came out in the early days, and it was many, many levels below what we were doing.
Oh.
Yeah. That was that did not have the ability that we had in NX, or it went from a system called CGS to a system called UG to a system called NX, and they're like 10 times more powerful than AutoCAD.
Wow. Yeah, I'm guessing that kind of three-dimensional. What you said, non-wireframe. What's the opposite of wireframe? The better.
Well, it started out as you're drawing on a medium, like on the board, and then you go to AutoCAD, which actually started out as a 2D, which was basically just the same thing you drew on the board, only on a computer.
With perspective.
Yeah, you're drawing the views on a computer. It wasn't 3D. It was just side view, top view, rear view. And then you went to a 3-dimensional wireframe, which was those views, but 3-dimensional. Instead of drawing it a side view and a rear view, you would draw it in 3D, and you would look at it in this view or that view, and you'd see the same thing as a side view, rear view. And then it went to the solid modeling, which is a complete math data representation of the complete part.
Solid modeling, like solid modeling down to the millimeter or lower kind of thing. Like if you had a curve, like it would be completely smooth kind of thing.
Yeah, to the it would take a millimeter to 13 decimal points.
Whoa. I know 9 is nano, so like it's like smaller than nanometer.
I mean, that's what it could measure to, right to 13. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's
it's
amazing.
Insane. It's insane. Yeah.
And so that's what you were using day to day to try to design these shapes and modify things, and it was just tons of math crunching in order to get there.
We would set our tolerance to 3 decimal points. So otherwise it would just use so much data and take so long to crunch, to develop and everything. So we would set it up for 3 decimal points. Yeah. To make it, just to keep it real. Wow. I mean, you got to keep it real, right?
Yeah. You got to be able to adapt and iterate in the spot. Yeah. Wow. That's so cool. What is your favorite truck of all time? Is it your Sierra that you have right now, or do you have another favorite?
There's a few things that I didn't agree with on the styling of that thing, and I complained about it while I was working there, but they didn't listen to me. So there's a few things I didn't like. I'm talking just the styling, right? My favorite truck of all time. It's definitely not the Hummer. I was not big on the Hummer.
Okay.
But that's one thing. Before I worked at General Motors, I drove Ford pickups and I loved them. And I like the new Dodge pickups too. But I was a Ford guy. And then I worked for GM and I became a GM guy. But I still have, I'm not one of those that's like die hard, my blood runs.
Married to
my
one
blood runs,
blend, yeah.
GM Blue or whatever. I still have an appreciation for. I had appreciation for our competitors, and I really liked a lot of things Ford was doing. And at the end there, some of the things I liked, some of the styling and things that Dodge was doing on their pickups. And there's some things that I don't like on the Chevys, but there's some things I don't like on the Fords and Dodges too. So I guess I'd have to say my favorite truck of all time is probably the medium duty that we stopped making.
Oh yeah, it's something rare. It sounds rare.
It's a kind of yeah. And there's been aftermarket folks that would take it and make a pickup truck out of it, and it's huge. It's got a 8-foot wide and 10-foot long bed on it.
Wow.
And it's just a monster. It's a monster. But
like how big would the wheels be on that?
They're probably about what it's
what the Sierra
has? The like the FedEx truck. It's kind of probably. I'm not sure if they're bigger than what's on your RV or not. They might be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What was that medium duty called? Was there a name or?
Yeah, they had a couple of names for it. It was like the GMC Top Kick or the what was the
Top Kick?
Yeah.
Huh, interesting. We'll have to Google that later.
Yeah, if I can find a picture of the aftermarket one, I'll send it to you.
That would be really cool.
My buddy had one.
I just got my learner's license for motorcycle, and your daughter told me that you used to enjoy motorcycles.
You used to race them.
I had a motorcycle endorsement, yeah, and I rode motorcycle until I broke my back on it.
Oh shoot!
Yeah.
Was Laura there when that happened? She must have had a heart attack.
No, I was 17 when that happened. It was before I met Laura, and I crushed T5, 6, and 7, and I had them completely fused.
Ooh, that is serious stuff, Carl.
Yeah,
you could have been paraplegic. Oh my gosh,
very easy. I almost died. I was close.
Yeah. How long were you in the hospital?
I think 3 months, close to 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
the 17.
Yeah. The spinal sac ripped.
Yeah. Oh.
And they didn't know it. I'm laying in the hospital and they didn't know it. And the spinal fluid was leaking into my chest cavity. So my body's there must be some sort of a
like an immune response. Yeah.
There must be some sort of a way your body knows to keep a certain level of spinal fluid around the spine or the cord. And since it was leaking, it was making more. And as it was making more, it was filling my chest cavity. And they didn't know, they couldn't figure it out at first. They didn't know. My lungs were collapsing.
Oh my gosh.
And I had a chest tap, and they had to suck out get all the fluid out so I could expand my lungs. And at the time, that was 1977, they had no way to repair. I don't know if they do now even. Do they have a way to repair a spinal sac?
I've never had a patient with a spinal sac that was repaired. Well, yeah, I'm not.
Well, basically, at that point, they said that either the sac will heal or I'll die, because it'll just, there's no way to stop it, right?
Wow. And you were 17. Did they tell that to your face at that time?
No,
they wouldn't. Yeah.
But I have a spinal tap, and
wow.
Apparently it healed. Thank God.
Yeah, it did.
And
do you still have like symptoms from that? Do you still have like leg
Yeah,
symptoms
yeah.
or
I get
anything?
I have spinal stenosis from I had 2 surgeries. So
Oh, to kind of like free up scar
yeah,
tissue and stuff like that.
once the sac healed, I was cleared for the surgery because what happened was the T5, 6, and 7. It was a compression fracture, and the disc, the not the disc,
The vertebral body, it lost height, right?
yeah,
The bone part.
the bone
Yeah.
crushed in the front and expanded in the back.
Okay.
All 3 of them. So it was expanded too far in the back that it wouldn't heal because it was gapped too far. So they went in with surgery through my back, and kind of at the time it was called a Harrington rod. You probably don't know of it because it's so old, and they replaced it with newer technology. But basically, it was just a threaded rod, and they'd hook up to the. They hooked up to the good bone on the top above the T567 and the one below it, and they screwed into those and they compressed them back down where they belonged. And they went in back then. They did this, and I don't think they do it anymore. They cut into my pelvic wing and took slices of it out and put it on there as a bone graft.
Wow. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Probably not. And I have 3. Those 3 are now fused together as one piece of bone. But all that bone trauma and the grafting has caused a lot of scar tissue in the area to create that stenosis there. That's there now. So the second operation was they took the rod out. So that allowed me movement. So instead of having 5 vertebrae that were solid, immovable, I'm back down to 3.
Wow. So yeah, I see. So they freed up the top and the bottom vertebrae, so you have a slight increase in range of motion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I do get like muscle fatigue and pain and this and that, and I just have to watch what I do.
Wow. So that like did a lot of people when you're young like that and you go through a significant thing like that, you actually go through like really like a transformational experience in your identity and your kind of like life goals and purpose. Did that happen with you? I mean, it sounded like you said you had an endorsement for racing and then all of a sudden no more bikes.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. And I also had to get away from physical, like the carpentry type stuff. And I got into more of the architecture, drawing, got into that
stuff
more,
at the desk kind of stuff.
More into the desk work with the engineering. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why I know a little bit about this, a little bit about that, and expert at nothing.
Well, you do know a lot about a lot of things, and it's really cool, and it's such an honor to be able to learn from you. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about motors about?
Whatever you want, just we'll do another one. Whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I mean, did you stop paying attention to motorbikes since then, or do you still have a motorbike, or a favorite motorbike still? Or?
No, I've had friends and I've rode with them a little bit on theirs, but I didn't. I sold mine and I got out of owning one because I knew it would probably just get me into trouble.
Yeah, that's the smart thing. I'm glad you did that because you've done amazing, with your kids and with everything. So, wow, what a fantastic journey. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Well, you're welcome. We really got off track of the subject that you wanted to talk about. But
No, I was interested in all of this, and all of this is possible because of what you had gone through in your life, and then the job that you got, and et cetera and et cetera, and you're pulling your home with a piece of that right now with your Sierra. So that's awesome. Yeah. So I look forward to updating you on my RV adventures, and I got to figure out how to stop my batteries from draining, because they keep draining. So I have no idea what's going on.
Oh, it could. Do you know how old they are? They could just be old and not being able to hold a charge very well.
Oh, I guess that's possible. The first time I got them, when I got it, I left the, I guess it's a truck. I left the truck for 10 days, and then I restarted it and no problems. And then again, 14 days, no problem. But then ever since I brought it to the shop to have its brakes redone. They had told me that the brakes were down to 7 millimeters. And then so I said, just to be safe, please redo them. And I think now full is like 17 millimeters, I think. So I got all the brakes done just to get safe. They couldn't find the part for something called, I think it's called a idler arm, some part of the steering, like part of
that would be the front suspension steering. Yeah.
Yeah, the front suspension steering, they said it's worn, but they couldn't get the part. They couldn't source the part. So they took it out and then they put it back in, and then I have it back in as you saw in the driveway. And
yeah, that's one of the things you run into when you have a 33-year-old vehicle is they don't make the parts anymore sometimes.
Why not?
Yeah. Because it doesn't. There's no profit in it when they're selling one every 5 years to a guy like you, right? It's like,
just make one for me.
Yeah. You'll be able to find it somewhere, I'll bet, but they're hard to find.
Yeah.
What that'll do is your steering is, you know how when you're holding on to your steering wheel and it's kind of going down the road and you got to do this instead of just like in a new car where you don't have to do anything to go straight down.
Okay. Yeah. Where you have to keep adjusting. So.
Yeah, because it's like your steering from your wheel to your tires has got a certain amount of connections in it, and there's that one connection at the idler arm that is sloppy.
It's not as tight as normal.
It's not as tight, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, worn out. So that's why you have this slop in your wheel.
A little bit of play. Yeah.
A little bit too much play in there.
Okay. Yeah. And I guess that if it gets worse, it could become a safety risk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing. But it's not like something's going to break and all of a sudden I'll crash somewhere or anything, right?
Maybe eventually, but I'm sure if they let you drive out of the place, then it was still good for a while.
Because mechanics that's their kind of their job for safety. They wouldn't they would tell you this is not safe to drive. They wouldn't put it back and like, yeah, go ahead, go take a trip.
Yeah, okay. I know here in the States, if it's like that, they sometimes make you sign something that you're aware that it's unsafe to drive.
Ah, okay. Yeah, they
because
did not.
They
even
don't want to be
that.
liable because they don't want to be liable where you drive off and then you sue them because there was an accident and they were the expert and they should have told you or not let you do it or whatever.
I've actually never heard of anybody suing mechanics in Canada. Like maybe because the mechanics are great, or because I just don't have a big enough circle of people that I know.
Or maybe Canada isn't as sue happy as the United States, where
that the culture,
yeah, where I don't think there's anybody any industry that hasn't been sued.
True.
Here they sue everybody.
Do you know of somebody who has sued a mechanic before for, I don't know, unsafe work or?
What about General Motors with the key fob?
I know General Motors has been sued by customers from things like safety, and I've also know that I've seen the mechanics that have those whatever you call them, waivers or whatever that you have to sign. So yeah.
So they're preparing for it. So it must be an existing issue that they're preparing for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, yeah, they use them. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. I'm gonna have to make sure I take care of that as soon as possible. But yeah,
I'm sure you could find one. It's just gonna you have to do some research to find it.
Doing my brakes and checking out the idler arm, I did get something called a drag link. I don't know what a drag link is, but it was replaced, and that was good. They were able to source that part. But looking at all of that, it cost me 1,200 Canadian dollars. I mean, it sounds like everything to repair an RV is expensive. And I guess there's no way around that. I had to bring it to a truck place. You know,
you look at the tires and the brakes on your RV, and they're so much beefier than a car. You know, it's gonna cost more. You're talking like a big, heavy, beefy system there. Everything's gonna be more than what you would expect on a car.
Yeah, and I had to bring it to I think a heavy duty mechanic, and I just brought it to a truck place, and they have to have more expensive machines to lift up heavier trucks and do all that stuff. And I'm sure they have insurance costs and all that stuff too. So I get it. Okay, I gotta let you go. It's already it's been almost 3 hours now. So
oh my god!
Thank you so much, Carl. I'm draining your energy, and bye, Laura. I appreciate you letting me talk.
I did have to plug in my phone and told me the battery was low.
I can't wait though to see your RV.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to tell you. If you're going through and trying to figure something out, like on your refrigerator or your stove or whatever, you know, if you're doing that and you have questions, FaceTime me and maybe I can help you out. If it's during the day, we'll be able to see better, you know, than this darkness.
Yes. Yeah, I'll try to get the batteries and the lights going, and then we'll have better visibility. Thanks a lot. Have a good night, and we'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night. Bye.